Okay, we just did a video talking about this new deadline in June where the fast track programs are going to have to go up on their donation option up to $200,000 minimum limit. And that's outside the commission that's paid. So you're looking at least, I would say 210, probably to 225,000 if they go up based on these new guidelines that the EU has set. If they don't do it, they're going to lose visa-free status to the Schengen countries. And I think what will happen is all of them will comply, including St. Lucia that has not signed on to this yet. Now, if you go with St. Lucia now before they make this decision, and then they don't go with this decision and they lose that visa-free status, man, you're going to have a junky passport because the number of countries they'll lose is close to 30, okay, off that passport. This is what happened with Vanuatu. Vanuatu lost all the Schengen countries, and it already had a bad passport. It was lower visa-free travel than any of the fast-track programs in the Caribbean. And then when they lost the Schengen countries, man, it went down to nothing. Now, what's going to happen is the EU now they're putting another step that's probably going to, it's going to present disaster, I think, to the fast-track programs. Either way, I think it's going to present a problem. And that is what's happening is they're setting a guideline, and they mentioned this back in October. They're going to put it in effect. They don't have a deadline date for it. There was also a letter that was put in my newsletter, which I'm going to go over some of the stuff with you, that addresses this. But I think what's going to happen is St. Kitts and Antigua and the other fast-track programs in the Caribbean, they really need to get some sort of alternative outside the fast-track programs, because one or two things I see happening, and it's probably going to happen in the next 2 years. I think it's going to happen even a lot quicker than that. But either they're going to have to either give up the fast-track program and be able to keep the visa-free status to the Schengen countries, which is roughly just right around 30 countries, or they can just say, hey, we're going to do our own thing. And if we lose our visa-free status to the Schengen countries, we lose it, but we're not giving up our fast-track program. Then that's what would happen. But then they would lose all those visa-free countries to Europe. I say all of them. I don't think the UK is going to throw in the towel here. I think the UK will, they broke away from the EU. So I think it's strictly the EU countries that they would end up losing in the Schengen countries. But we'll see what happens, okay? But one of those two things is going to happen in the next 2 years. Either they're going to just forfeit the fast-track programs, and I think almost all of them will do that, or they will, or they'll basically, want to keep the visa-free countries intact, and they'll give up their fast-track programs, okay? Now, my advice to St. Kitts and the other countries is I would come out, and I mentioned this before, they really need to come out with a fast-track, not citizenship by investment, but a residency by investment program that leads up to citizenship, okay? And similar to what you've got, kind of a hybrid between what Portugal's got and what Dominican Republic's got. Dominican Republic's got a great concept, but in essence, it doesn't work because nobody gets anything done over there, okay? I commented on this video that said you can get the passport in 6 months in the DR. You won't get the visa stamped and the cellular in 6 months, okay? It'll take you at least 7 months to a year just to get that cellular in your hand. And I'm giving you best case scenario, okay? Passport's going to take you 3 to 4 years. I'm talking about setting up a residency by investment program that works. And the government sticks to guidelines and they don't linger this thing out. Like in St. Kitts, I'm not usually critical on St. Kitts, but I'll give you an example. I knew a lady here that came from Guyana. She spent 14 years busting her butt here. She gets past the 14 years, and the government's just ignoring her on getting the passport. She had to go another 2 years out and wait until another government came in existence, and they couldn't figure out why she had to wait another 2 years. Just that government was slow as hell. That's why. Okay, took her 16 years to get that passport. Okay. Now, I'm not saying take that residency by investment program. If the government wants to keep that intact, fine, but they should come out with another program, okay, as a backup, at least to test drive it because of all this stuff going on with the EU, and have it set up for a 1.5 or 2 year period where people have to move to St. Kitts. That's an option. They don't have to get rid of the citizenship by investment program, but have a residency by investment program where the person has to come to St. Kitts for a 1.5 years, or you could do a 2 year. I would not exceed it beyond 2 years. And they can apply for the passport after that time period. As long as they don't have background problems and stuff like this, they get the passport. It doesn't go out, and they should get the passport within 6 months of having that time period put in. Okay, I mean, this is the way it should be. And it should be a committee that makes sure that happens. And why should you have this? Well, first of all, if the EU comes in with these new stipulations, that you're going to that St. Kitts and these other fast track programs are going to have to give up their fast track program or either lose the visa free status to these other countries, then St. Kitts might want, I'm not telling them what to do. I'm just saying this is an option, is they might want to give up the fast track program, okay, to keep from losing all those visa free countries that the EU is going to take from them, okay, penalize them on, and have enough time to see how this residency by investment program works. Because the way they're wording this and the way the EU is coming back on these fast track programs is they don't have an economic means other than just purchasing or giving money to the government in turn for a passport. EU doesn't like that, okay? They haven't really detailed what they don't like. So a citizenship by investment with a property option might go because you do have an economic tie to the country at that point because you bought a property there, okay? But they might not even allow that. They might say, hey, we want to see some residency there, okay? We want to see somebody move to that country. It's got some sort of economic tie there. And they can't make the fast track programs do this, but they can put all kinds of pressure, like just take all those visa-free countries away, okay? And then they're going to have to make a decision. So I'm saying, why not get a residency by investment program that's a real fast track residency by investment program, like maybe a hybrid between Portugal. Portugal has advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantages, it takes 7 years to get the passport. And then you got the Portuguese language test. Great thing about St. Kitts, you don't have a language test, okay? And if you did have one, it'd be English. But St. Kitts could waiver that and just have, got to put the residency period in, then apply for the passport, okay? Dominican Republic's got a pretty good program. In actuality, it doesn't work because they're too slow over there. But the fact is, they do have a great concept, okay? The disadvantage is you got to pass the Spanish test to get that passport. St. Kitts doesn't have that. And, you're looking at an English language country, which makes it even better. That's the advantage at St. Kitts and other fast track programs in the Caribbean if they would come out with a real short residency by investment program. Now, Antigua's got one a lot shorter than St. Kitts. It's about 5 years, roughly. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is about a 9-year residency by investment. St. Kitts is 14 years, man. That's too long. They need to shorten that, and they need to come way, way down, okay? And then the person has an economic tie because they're residing in the country. All right, but make it real short, 1.5 years, 2 years at the max. And they'll get people that will come in to these fast-track countries that have these new residency by investment programs that will want to stay there, okay? And they've got to reside in those countries at that point. In other words, you're going to have to come in and reside for 1.5 or 2 years. And you might have to buy a property of $100,000 instead of, $400,000, have maybe a $100,000 limit, okay? But they got to move. They have to physically move to St. Kitts. You're going to have a lot more jobs created by doing this. And I'm not saying give up the fast track program, but if the EU comes out, it sounds to me like they're going to be putting the pressure. This is the next step, is if St. Kitts and these other ones don't give up the fast track program, okay, of just, doing a donation and somebody getting the passport, and they might just disallow the real estate option. They might say, hey, we want to see somebody move to that country and live in that country and be there, not just invest and not be there, okay? then St. Kitts has got an option in place. They've had time to study this to see if it works. And you're going to get people in these short residency by investment programs that would not get in a citizenship by investment program. Okay, you're going to get, this is one way to get more people in that you normally would miss. Now, the people with the fast track program, some of those people will never move to St. Kitts, no matter what you do. Okay, so if you get rid of the fast track program, those people are not going to get in the residency by investment program because they have no plans. Their business is somewhere else. It could be in China, it could be in the UAE. They have no plans on moving. All they want is the passport, okay? So St. Kitts is going to have to, and the other fast track programs are going to have to consider, is it worth giving up those visa-free countries to approximately 30 countries and be able to, still engage in that fast track program? Anyway, this is what's come out here. And then these countries are going to, my advice is I would be thinking about this now with a short residency by investment program and get it tested and in operation quick before this new threat comes from the EU. And I guarantee you it ain't far away. I would say 6 months to a year at the most. Once all these citizenship by investment programs in the Caribbean give in on this, they're going to come out with something else. Promise you. They do this with the blacklisting all the time. They throw you on a gray list. If you don't abide by what they're saying, then they throw you on the blacklist. Then these countries, they give in, they get taken off the blacklist, and then 6 months or a year or 2 years later, they're thrown back on the blacklist again because the EU is making more and more threats. And they either go by their demands or they put all kinds of sanctions. They'll cut out tourist travel. They won't set up corporations from that country. They won't do any sort of, they won't allow their citizens or residents to do banking maybe overseas in those countries. There are all kinds of things. They can cut all the tourist travel. There's all kinds of things that they can come up with. So I think what they should do is try to come out with a hybrid and see how that hybrid works before cold turkey comes in, where you just have to drop the citizenship program, the fast track, and rush into it. I would be trying to test drive these new residency by investment programs that are real short. It's worked real good in Portugal. Portugal's been dynamite, but there's so many negatives with Portugal. You got to learn Portuguese to get the passport. You're looking at 7 years, and you got to go over every year for so many days each year to qualify for that. And why not have something in Dominican Republic is a real short period. It's not as short as they say it is going to be, but you're looking at 3 to 4 years to get the passport, only because they're so slow. It's supposed to be a 2-year program to get the passport, but nobody gets in 2 years. But have a program like that, they've got a great concept, but then knock the language barrier part out, which they've already got with the fast track program already. Anyway, this article came out, was talking about the EU moves one step closer to be able to cut the visa-free access to citizenship by investment countries. Now, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to skip a lot of this, but it was talking about here that in October last year, they had a report that came out that announced proposals that enacted would allow it to add in the operation of the citizenship by investment program as one of the valid grounds for suspending the visa waiver agreement between such countries and the Schengen area. This week, the Commission moved one step closer to making this a reality. Now, what they're doing is they got this visa-free suspension mechanism in place that allows for suspension of the waiver agreement if the country displays certain things. I'm not going to go through all these because they really don't relate to you. A lot of it has to do with people, citizens coming in and planting themselves illegally in a country. And if you get so many percentages of that from people coming in, they just cut off the visa-free travel. That's not going to be dealing with you guys. I'm going to just skip down to the part that you're going to be interested in. But the Commission's proposal in October was to add another 3 conditions. And I'm going to just go through one of the conditions, and that is the operation of an investor citizenship scheme whereby citizenship is granted without any genuine link to the third country concerned in exchange for predetermined payments or investments. Now, I'm going to just tell you what I think they're talking about here, and that is if you're just planning money, they're put in plain, clear English right here that they're going to cut off the visa to these countries, okay, that they're very cherished countries in Europe. If all you're doing is you're just planning money down and getting the passport, which means the citizenship by investment program will be dead in the water unless they let you get property that they consider that as a genuine link. Now, they didn't go into specifics here, so I can't really tell you, but I can tell you that if you pick your butt up and you move to a country and you're there for at least a year and a half or 2 years and then apply for the passport, that's a genuine link, okay? Now, whether or not the real estate will go in, they haven't gone into specifics here. I got a feeling they might not even let the real estate option go. That's why these fast-track countries better get in gear, and they better start looking at quick, short periods of getting citizenship that will get a lot of people in, okay, and require some sort of investment or hiring so many people, or investing in banks, something that's going to really help in the economy, but it's going to get a lot of people because the period is short, okay? But if you don't start, and I'm talking to not just St. Kitts and Antigua, I'm talking to, we're talking about Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominica. These are the ones that should be thinking about this right now and test driving this, because I think this is coming around the corner pretty quick. As soon as this happens, where all these countries, of course, 4 of the 5 already signed on, shortly after this, they're going to come out with, hey, you're going to have to give up your citizenship by investment fast-track programs, or the tie, and we're going to give you this date, or they might just cut it off like the UK did with Dominica. They didn't do any warnings. They just cut them off and from the visa-free travel. And I think the fast-track programs better be thinking about this really quick, because I would be getting the jump on getting a fast-track residency by investment program started. And none of the fast-track programs in the Caribbean have this. Dominican Republic has had a lot of people have gone in their program. They've had, of course, a lot of money stolen from lawyers. I had 2 different times I had money stolen, okay? I had somebody from immigration asking me, an immigration officer asking me for money. No joke, I did a video on that one, okay? But they've got a good concept. The fact is, the point I'm trying to make is the fact their concept is good, okay? They just can't get off the toilet's the problem, okay? That's the big problem. But in essence, they do have a great concept. And I don't really see anybody else doing what the DR is doing. And now, whether or not the EU will actually, let pass, applying for a residency in a country and then not being there physically at all, and that's technically the way the DR is. You have to make maybe 2 or 3 or 4 trips there, okay, get the passport. But these are not residency periods. They're just going there. You have to be there to get things done, okay? Whether or not they will call that an economic tie to the country, I don't know. But you would have to, it is a period of time. You're looking at, the DR says it's 2 years to get the passport. You're not going to get it in 2 years. It's going to take you 3 to 4 years at least to get it, because they're too slow there, okay? But I would have something and build a good reputation on it. It's a year and a half, or do it for 2 years on residency by investment. And then 6 months later, you got the passport, okay? And make it, unless the person's got a real background issue, okay? And make it where it's going to happen in that time period. Have it in the law, it's 6 months after that, you got the passport in your hands. That way, if they need to get rid of the fast track program, okay, they got a fast track residency by investment program to take its place. Have both of them going at the same time. And I'll tell you something, one will get business that the other one won't get. This is why they need to have these 2 programs intact. Then if they want to drop the fast track program because they don't want to lose the visa-free countries, and most of the people in that country are voting, hey, we don't want to lose the visa-free countries. I'm not saying they're going to say that. I'm just saying you're going to have to do, the countries are going to have to do a vote testing from the citizens to find out, do you want to continue the fast track program, okay, and then lose all the visa-free countries, or do you want to, comply with the EU and basically keep all those visa-free countries intact? I mean, you're going to have to just vote and see what the public wants. I mean, technically, most politicians are going to go with what the people want to begin with. And I'm not saying which one's better. I really don't know which one's better, okay? I think the country should decide on that. But I think you ought to be bringing in this other option, the fast track residency by investment program, and start test driving this before you come down to where you got to rush into something and give up the fast track program and have nothing there, okay? These are things you got to plan in advance on. Anyway, if you want to know more on this, folks, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And if you want to legally get around high income taxes or how to get a second passport as quick as 4 to 8 months, just contact us. And again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you'll get new videos automatically as they come out. And I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Take care.